Blades Ramble are proudly supported by our main channel sponsor, My Business Group, a group of brands designed to support owners, leaders and managers in business. We would not be where we are without the incredible support of John and the team. If you're looking to grow your business, contact mybusinessgroup.co.uk today for more information or follow the link in the description below.
Blades fans, subscribe to Blades Ramble. Up the Blades.
What is happening, Blades, and welcome back to the Blades Ramble. I am, of course, Jimmy, and this is rebuilding Sheffield United. We have got a big job on this summer. It's been a terrible, terrible season. And we're going to try rebuilding us because in light of no parachute payments, we're going to try rebuilding us with free transfers only. I'm trying to be realistic with this in terms of a couple of players will leave, so I've counted for that. At least a couple will leave. I'm saying two leave. Also, there's loans to come in on top. This is not what I think will happen, but this is what I would like to happen, and it's only a bit of fun. It's only a bit of fun, so let's not get too carried away with it. Just get your suggestions in the comments. Let me know what you would do. So the way we're going to do it, buckle up because there's a lot to get through. A lot of work has gone into this stream, so I hope you enjoy it. We're going to go through the squad as it is currently. We're going to do my preference on keep, sell, release, loan out, whatever you want to do. Then, once we've got a squad or a spine of a squad, we're going to sprinkle some free transfers in and see if we can build something a little bit reasonable. Now, we have to acknowledge, and I think it's fair to say, the squad is bloated. I think we also have to acknowledge that some players will be hard to get out. So I've tried to think about that, but also, again, it's more an ideal scenario for me as well, what I would like to do if I had the choice. So, without any further ado, let's get into it. So I have to scroll down to try and find this first one. You'll see how it works as soon as we get going. Michael Cooper. Goalkeeper, 26 years old. He's got a contract till 2028. And without any messing about, we're keeping him, aren't we? We're keeping him. So I'll do the goalkeepers first. Obviously, we're going to go in squad order. I'll jump into some comments. Then we'll look at the defenders. Then I'll probably jump into some more comments. So try not to get... If you can go with me through the positions, we'll do it that way. But don't worry if you don't. I know things get a little bit excitable. Does anybody not keep Michael Cooper? Does anybody think we need a change of number one? I know a lot of people will sort of say, due to his performances earlier this season, he needs closer competition. But I still have full faith in Michael Cooper. I'm pretty sure he was carrying something, and I think we should keep him. That's the way I'm going with it. And this is, it's an open discussion, but I'm giving you my opinion on it. Next up, Adam Davis. Now, this is an interesting one because if you'd have asked me this 2 months ago, it's a really easy answer. Because I don't think whenever he's made his small cameos in the team, I don't think he's done great. And don't get me wrong, I don't think he hasn't completely changed my opinion. I don't now think, we got it wrong with Davo. I do think there's a gulf between first and second goalkeepers in the squad. But as much, don't know, am I as sort of nervous when he's in goal? No, not as much. For me, there's still a gap there. His contract runs out at the end of the season. He's 33 years old. Thinking about what we could do and what we could get in as a realistic option, I'm releasing Davo. I'm open to a conversation about it, but I'm releasing Davo. So let me know what your thoughts are. And the last one, obviously, to consider is Luke Faxon. Young Luke Faxon, 21 years old now. I don't remember seeing it. I think he might have made an appearance for half a game or something like that in some cup tie once upon a time. Contracted till June 2028. Probably we're a +1 because that's how United like to do things. We need to see what we've got here. In my opinion, he needs to go out on loan. And we've said that for a little while now, haven't we? That I think I'd like to see Luke Faxon get some minutes, lower down the pyramid, see what he can do. Okay, let's jump into some comments before we move into the defence because it already gets spicy. I don't think that's too much of a shock to too many people. Gives you a little bit of a flavour as to what we're looking at. Matt says, looking forward to catching up on this. Thank you, my mate. Batman says, be very interesting this. You've seen my rebuilt 11 based on worst case outs and frees. So Lou sent me his just before I've come on. And in his scenario, Gus Hamer, Femi Sariki, Sidi Peck and Andre Brooks all leave the club. So that's worst case scenario that he's talking about. And then he's sprinkled some frees in as well. Can't wait to see how many good frees I've missed. Up the Ramble, like and subscribe. John says, hi Jim. To rebuild United, we can't just rely on frees. I know, John. I know, but I'm splitting it up. I'm not. This isn't a full. Like this is all I want us to do. I just think it's fun just to have a little go at what can we get with free transfers. United, we can't just rely on frees. To generate cash, I would sell Gus, Jaffet, Campbell, and Ukake, and one of Peck, Brooks, and Sariki. Evaluating pre-season, Zatterstrom, Wachukwu, Marsh, and Baptiste. I don't think we will be able to sell Jaffet. I don't know if we would get a lot of interest in Campbell at the minute. I think we have to cut our losses on Ukake. We'll come to all these, obviously. Polendikov and Sachdev as well. He wants to have a look at to see if there's a low-cost player that can come good. If not, sell. Up all the Blades Rambles, up the Blades, like and subscribe. Thank you, my mate. Alex says, evening, Jimmy. Hope you're good. I am, thank you, mate. Hope you are too. Wonder if Dan Neil could be a loan option. Carl and Grant on a free anyone. Excited for the summer. Convinced we are a proper Sheffield United team next season. So am I, mate. So am I. Scott says, looking at the free market is going to be a tough build. Not a lot of talent out there. We'll likely need to sell and purchase replacements. Possibly, mate. Possibly. But again, no parachutes. So this is a little bit like Lou's talking about worst case scenarios. If we can only bring in free transfers, I'm going to try and show you what's available. We have to manage our expectations as well. Glenn the Beautiful says, you do have parachute payments in your third year. Not if you only went up for one season, Glenn. If you go up for one season, you get 2 years worth of parachute payments, and that's what happened to United this time. Mogga says, Jimmy Dunn lined up, suggests Sariki is off. Suitors lined up. Your dad made a great point about Tanganga and Yobo. Yes, I thought so too. If you've not seen that, go and check out Talking Sense with Andy the Blade. Always enjoy those shows. Chris says, how do I get notifications for different Blades Ramble shows while I'm watching one live? How do you or why do you? Have you had notifications for two? We shouldn't be live. We're only live on the one. You tap the bell to get your notifications on Blades Ramble. Thank you, Chris. Only if you've stayed in the Prem for 2 years, says Ian. The big question is, if Cooper doesn't step up this season, what do we do? I'm pretty sure he'll be sold. Do we have the brass to release Davo and then pay someone to come in? We'll see, mate. We'll see if there's any free transfers out there that take me fancy. Dave the Nose says, evening, Jim. Some of my favourite content is this. Very interesting summer ahead. I love doing it, Dave. You know that, mate. I'm big for this. You forgot Gerbic. Yes, I know I did. Well, he's our player too. Who remembers Ivo Gerbic? Let's sell Ivo Gerbic. Let's sell him. Bald and Brilliant Lee says, round at Scratchville's drinking snake bites and releasing Davis and loaning out Luke Faxon. Keeper's done. Nice. Mogga says, I'd give Cooper the start of the season, say 5 games. If it's more of what he's been this season, I'd get a lone goalkeeper in from the Prem or Tickle from Wigan. Nice. Sam Tickle. A lot of people like him. And Rob says, Dan Neil will be available on a free transfer in the summer. His contract with us runs out. Yep. Possibly. And he got a deal in place with Ipswich. I haven't considered Dan Neil in this, to be fair, because I'm pretty sure it's sewn up with Ipswich. Right, so let's jump in to the defence without any further ado. Femi Sariki. This is a big one, this, because he's the first of the players that I think we won't want to sell, but we may have to sell. I think we'll entertain offers for him. And it's just what Wilder wants to do. There are rumours of discontent, or certainly a previously fractured relationship with Wilder. Whether that's still the case, I'm not entirely sure. I'm not even sure whether it's true or not. We're speculating, aren't we? But no doubt of this kid's talent and what he has done this season, what he has offered us with his partnership with Andre Brooks down the right-hand side. There's murmurings of Kyle Walker possibly being on the scene as well next season. What does that do to Femi Siriki's position? Do we go to a back three to accommodate Walker as the right-hand side of the three and have Femi Siriki push further forward into a wing-back position? I would like to. I don't think it's likely, if I'm honest. So what does it do for Femi Siriki? I don't think we will get offers matching what he gives us in terms of his output. I'm keeping Femi Siriki. It's more in hope than expectation, I think, at this stage. We do have to sell players. So he may be one that does not stay. And it won't be because he's not good enough to stay. It'll be because we have to sell players. Japhet Tanganga. 26 years old, came in for big money, will not be sold. I'll be amazed if he gets sold in the summer. I think he keeps his place in the team. We had a really good discussion on Talking Sense with my dad, Andy the Blade, about whether him and Bindon work well together as a duo. I'm not convinced they do. Neither of us think they do work well as a partnership. Despite being good individually, neither of us think they work well together. So, and like Mogo was saying, my dad made a good comparison to, he thinks he's a similar player to Joseph Yobo, who he was fully aware of when he were at Everton, obviously. 15 years since now, probably. But a real good athlete, defender, gets about the pitch, but needed to be guided by somebody alongside him. Is that Japhet Tanganga? I'm not sure. So we'll wait and see. I am retaining Japhet Tanganga, and I think that's what the club will do as well. Kiana Hoover. Do we keep Kiana Hoover? I don't. I've been really disappointed with this signing. Not necessarily in the kid, because obviously he's doing what he can. But I don't think he's offered us anything. I don't think he's offered us anywhere near the expectation. He was in this league 2 years ago with Stoke. He had like he had 2 back-to-back loan spells. It ended up being like an 18-month stint at Stoke City in this league. And he was a real attacking threat down the right-hand side from their full-back position. A bit like their Femi Siriki, if you like. So when he came in, he's only 24. But when he came in, I was really excited. And I actually thought, oh, does that mean Femi's off in Jan? Because he is that level of competition, or he certainly appeared to be. With Wolves coming down, they may even give him a go. They might want to sell him, but I wouldn't be buying him personally. I don't think it's something we should be entertaining. Just my opinion. Let me know what you guys think. Sam McCallum, left back, had a great season. Certainly his best season in a Sheffield United shirt. A lot of people would say a breakthrough season for him. 25 years old. Contract runs till 2028. Let's hope he can come back in any sort of form close to what he was when he went out. Unfortunately, he is being kept. He's a good player. He's done very well this season. Unfortunate to get injured. Was our first choice left back when he went down. And let's hope we can get more out of Sam McCallum that we got earlier on in the season. Leo Hjelde, left back, centre back. I didn't realise he was just 22 years old. He looks about 35. So, a big unit, on loan. Will we make it permanent? I don't think we will. I think he goes back to Sunderland. And it's a shame, this. It's a shame, and it's more circumstantial than anything else. I think we brought him in as left-back cover in the light of Sam McCallum's injury. And for me, he's just not had the game time. And whenever he has come on, he's looked solid. When we've moved to a back three and he's been the left-hand sided centre-back, he's looked really comfortable because he can play both. But we're not playing that way permanently. I think he's going to be a bit of a casualty of, bodies in front of him, essentially. And if we're keeping McCallum, and spoiler, we might be keeping Burrows, where does he fit in? Do you move him to centre-half, or do you think we can get a better centre-half in? I don't think we're going to be going to 3 at the back, so we've got to focus on what we can do with the 4-2-3-1. And Hjelde doesn't fit my plans, unfortunately. And listen, I would be fine if we went back for him and could find a place for him, but I feel like it'd be a bit of a waste, personally. Big shout here now. Tyler Bindon. What do you do with Tyler Bindon? Very good player, got better and better as the season's gone on. I would now say he's our best centre-half. However, we have a very expensive centre-half next to him, who he's already proven in the league. He's had a little dodgy stint, it's fair to say. Our defence has been poor in terms of goals conceded and things like that. We have to be aware of that. We have to do something about that going into next season. Sloppy mistakes, not much of a physical presence, very young in terms of our defence. What do we do with Tyler Bindon? Because he's a loan player. You'd have to pay decent money if you wanted him in permanently. I don't think we'll do that now. We've not got parachute payments. Would you take him back on loan when I personally think him and Tanganga aren't the best partnership? I think there's certainly an argument for trying to get him back on loan. Would he come if he's not guaranteed a first-team spot now? Would Forest want to deal with us? Is it dependent on Forest's Premier League status? Probably. Let me know what you think about Tyler Bindon. I'm loaning him, and he's the only one that I'm getting on a loan with an option to buy. And that might be fanciful. That might be a little bit optimistic of me. But I'm trying to get him back in on loan. It's the only one that I've done really in this sort of way. I've just realised it's a free transfer one, isn't it? But I would try and get him back. I've only done this for the loan players where we consider whether we reloan him or not. Harrison Burrows, 24 years old, left back. Had a great season last season. This season has struggled, but has got gradually improved as the season's gone on, I would say. I think we keep Harrison Burrows, as I was saying earlier. Him and McCallum will battle it out for that left-back spot next season, in my opinion. He is one that we might attract some offers for. It would be lazy recruitment, if I'm honest, and that sounds harsh, but I think that's genuinely how it would be. It would be a little bit like our signings of Chong and McGuinness and things like that, of reputations of players rather than current form of players. But we may attract a little bit of interest, and if that's the case, then we'll have to see what comes, but I'm keeping Harrison Burrows for the time being because I don't think it'll be a big ticket offer for him. Which, does it make it worth our while selling? I don't think it does. Ben Mee. I was a huge fan of this signing when he came in. Leader, something that we are desperately lacking in the squad, on the field. It's a very odd one at the moment. And look, he came into the side. Wilder was trying to get him into the side, and I was grateful for that because I think he's a very good player. Obviously, Bindon and Tanganga individually have done okay, done well. It's in Bindon's case particularly. Tanganga's done okay in spells as well, done well in spells. As a partnership, I'm not overly keen, but can you bring Ben Mee back in when they're not really doing too much wrong? I'm not sure. You'd have to move Bindon over to the right, really, and bring Ben Mee in as the left-sided centre-half, and I think that's very harsh on Tanganga. But since his injuries, his hand injury, he's not really featured, and he seems to be distancing himself a little bit, not intentionally. I don't think there's anything like untoward going on, but he's on YouTube, he's on Sidemen, he's on all sorts of different things online. He's been spotted in crowd at Burnley. How committed is he to Sheffield United? Not that I would expect him to be, but I think he's on the wind down, which at 36 years old you'd expect, and it's for that reason I'm releasing Ben Mee. I'm releasing him, and it's not a comfortable one, but it's we're looking to the future, aren't we? We're trying to build our club again. We're rebuilding our club, and that's the way I'm going. Jamie Shackleton. He's a footballer that plays for Sheffield United. For those that aren't aware, really struggled with injuries, struggled with some off the field issues as well, which other people have their opinions on. I'm not going to comment on it here, to be fair, but a grafter. Can see why Chris Wilder would be interested in having him around, but a wise man once said, the best ability is availability, and this kid is never available. Sell him if we can. If we can. He's got a year left, as you can see on his contract there. If we can sell him, let's get him gone. He doesn't add anything to the squad. He's taking up a big wage, and I think he needs to go. Matti Zetterstrom. For those that aren't aware, his name's Nils Zetterstrom, but my dad can't pronounce his name, so he calls him Matti. Currently out on loan with Genoa, and they have an option to buy for something like €5.5 million, which would be a profit on what we paid. I think we paid around £3 million. Certainly won't have paid all that up front, but that will be the situation. Strange one. We've not seen him. Looked raw from the little glimpses that we were able to cobble together. I think he's played once for Genoa. So on the surface, wouldn't appear likely that they would sign him. However, it depends where they see his future. If they think he's got a huge upside and they can get him for a snip at 5.5, that might work in our favour. If he comes back to Sheffield United, I'm loaning him out again. I'm loaning him out. He's got a contract till 2029, and I want to see what he can do in a side where he's playing regularly. I would like to see him on loan. League One lowest. Can he go to a bottom end Championship side and see what he can do there? We'll have to wait and see. Mark McGuinness, a really lovely fella, to be fair. Another one that's contracted till 2029, and this is more optimistic than it is realistic. I think I would try and get some money back for Mark McGuinness, because I don't think the money that he is on, I don't think we can justify it for what would be a third, or definitely for me, a fourth choice centre half. I just think he's a little bit slow. I think we are trying to piece together a team that can compete at the top end of the Championship on a budget. He is an asset to the squad in terms of monetary value. We won't get anywhere near what we paid for him, but do we see if we can cash in? I would certainly try that. Some would keep him, but you've got to try and balance this out with the sort of money that these players will be on. We've got an idea of what some of them are on. We're guessing what others are going to be on, which we'll come to when we do a wrap-up at end as well. Polendikov, I don't know why he was even in the reckoning. To be fair, I think he's on an old list that I had, but he's going out on loan, as are a lot of the youngsters. Sam Curtis comes into that category for me, on loan at Chelsea at the minute. Do we try him in League One, see if he's developed enough to have a real go at League One? Only 20 years old. Contract does run out in 2027. It's a big contract. I wouldn't be upset if we sold him, but I'm going to try and loan him out again, see if we can get some more minutes into him. And to be fair, that is where we finished the defenders. So let's have a little look at where we were in the comments. Keep Davis for me, says Gaz. That's Adam Davis. Fair enough. There will be a lot of people thinking like that now, but you might think differently when we come to end. Don't think we'll be able to pay Dan Neil what he'll be wanting. Gerbic release, that would be sell, wouldn't it, rather than release? I think he's still got a year left. I might be wrong, Gaz. No deal with Ipswich yet, says Rob. Oh, interesting. Gaz says keep Femi depending on the price offered. I agree with that. Sell Femi, says Jack. Sell Peck. Sell Gus. Keep Brooks. We've got to fix what we spent and build a solid squad. Leave the back three alone, says Scott. Tanganga is a must keep, says Gaz. Off form currently, but he will come good. Interesting. Jack says we've got to keep him. I think taking the armband off him will allow him to play his game, and someone made a good point. Our centre-back get pulled out of position to cover. Our centre-backs get covered out of position to cover right back. Got it about Hoover. Really wanted him to be good, says Jack. Hoover can go, says James. Also got it about Hjelde. Not seen enough of him. Super McCallum. Keep. He's walking again, says James. That's good. Helder to go for James. He says he's not played enough games. Liam says evening, pal. Plenty of decent frees. Yeah, absolutely. We'll maybe get to some of them. Bindon is a no, sadly, for Jack. Tanganga doesn't work. Unless we're going for a solid right back and left back, Bindon wouldn't want to sit on the bench. Can we go for the same defence with how much they've... How can we go for the same defence with how much they've shipped? I think that's fair. Surely we sign Mikey Johnston if Hamer leaves, says Liam. Possibly. Bindon, if we can sign if Forest... Bindon we can sign if Forest don't go down, says James. Mogger says, forget about Bindon. Get two leaders, Suter or Worrell, even Egan back. If we do a back three with Walker 2 or a Dale Fry, rather have leaders back there with a sprinkling of athleticism and youth. Offer me a coaching job, says John. Gaz says he's a release for him. Burrows keep, but listen to offers. Jack says, Ben Mee is so weird. Was solid, then disappeared after his surgery. We need a solid tank at the back. Me release, says James. Make Shackleton available. Zatterstrom's not starter for Genoa, available for transfer, and he's selling McGuinness. Bald and Brilliant Lee says, Sariki sell for the right deal. Shackleton somehow get out. Hoover send back. Tanganga keep. Bindon loan back. Me release. McGuinness sell. McCallum keep. Burrows sell for the right deal. Hjelde send back. Interesting. Norrington Davis missed. I think he goes, mate. Apologies, you're right. He has been missed, but I think we sell him. Sell Norrington Davis. Oh yeah, RND. Do I think we'll be selling him? Norrington Davis, yeah, I do. I think he'll go, pal. Right, jumping into the midfield. As you can see, we've a lot to get through. Ollie Arblaster. What do we think to Ollie? Ollie has struggled he's been fast-tracked back to the first team at a time where we were really weak in the middle and we needed to call on players that we can rely on, and he's done what he could. Not quite got to the levels that he was pre-injury, but I think with a full pre-season, he'll be brilliant for us next year. We're keeping Ollie Arblaster, undoubtedly. Gustavo Hamer. I think this is the one that I need to show you. Because I am selling, and I don't think it comes as any shock to anybody that is the case. Yeah, Gus, I think goes. I think he's the most likely to leave out of anybody in the squad. Trabzonspor Sport aren't going away. I think that's a real possibility. We'll just have to wait and see. He's been one of the most technically gifted players I've ever seen play for Sheffield United. I don't quite put him in the Ilman and Dye category. Well, probably for natural ability, I would. David McGoldrick is right up there with natural ability. He's probably in the top 3. Gus Hamer for that. I just don't think we've ever seen it on a consistent basis, and it's been so disappointing. And don't get me wrong, this isn't he'll be remembered as a really, really good player for Sheffield United because he is. But I think we sell him, and I think it's time that we move on. And I think we might be a better team for it. I think we sometimes become a little bit reliant on Gus, or we certainly did in the past. And results have said that we sometimes perform better without him in the side now. So, yeah, I think. What are you looking for Gus in terms of a price? I'm aiming for 10. I'm aiming for 10 million quid. That's what I've got in my head. If we can get 8, I think we do a deal. He's got a year left, you have to remember as well. And if he's not willing to sign a deal, and I don't blame him if he isn't, but if he's not willing, because he's got one big move left in his career, if he's not willing to sign a deal, then we have to cash in on him in summer. It's not a definite, by the way. There might be a case of teams only offer 5 or 6 million for him, and Wilder turns around to the board and says, look, I can't replace him for this sort of, which we know anyway, because he's irreplaceable as an individual, but I would rather have Gus Hamer than 5 or 6 million in the bank to spend elsewhere. That might be his approach to it. So we'll have to wait and see. Calvin Phillips, are we re-signing? I'm not. He returns. And look, that's not because I'm not switching up on Calvin Phillips. I really like him. I think I was so excited when we signed him. And there's a strong chance that a team that gets him, if he comes back to this level, and it might be with Sheffield United, it might be a signing that we go back for if we can get a deal that really works for us. I think he could be a revelation again at Championship level. But this is one that I have to fit into our non-parachute consideration. We can't. I know we're not paying anywhere near his full wage. He's got a year left at City. There's some talk about him terminating that contract. Why would he? Why would he? In my estimation, I don't know. I don't get why he would. But I think it's unrealistic to expect Calvin Phillips to come back at this stage. And I might be wrong. And if he comes back, I won't be upset because I think we know there's a great. It's not. I think we know there's a great player in there. Joe Rothwell again. A little bit like the McGuinness one, this is more a personal preference than what I actually expect to happen. I'm selling Joe Rothwell. I don't think he's looked great. I've not given up on him. And at one stage, I had him staying in the squad until I looked at the free transfers that are available in and around. So I don't think we'll be able to sell him. I think he will remain with the squad. This is more a fanciful one from me, really, because he's contracted for another year. I think he'll be on big money. I think if he can get fit, he'll be an asset for us, certainly in a rotation sense. But I've got a feeling he'll be a big earner for us, and I'm not convinced that we'll be getting value. Certainly not at the moment, anyway. Callum O'Hare. The player of the season for the first 2/3 of the season. Yes, he's tailed off a little bit the last 3 or 4 games, but he was the one that was leading us when everybody else were on their backside. So, you all right, dude? All right. He was the one that was leading us when everybody else were on the backside. Only one that comes out of any credit for me under Ruben Sayers' regime. And yeah, for me, he's still got enough credit in the bank to be player of the season. And Callum Aware, undoubtedly. I keep Callum Aware. And I think a lot of people would as well. Andre Brooks. Again, going to be a real tough one, this, to do. But I think we hold the cards with him a little bit more than we do with others. And I think the fact that we're trying to keep Sariki, I'm doing all I can to keep Andre Brooks at the club. I think we'll get offers for him, and I think his head might be turned. So we'll have to wait and see. But if we're sticking to this 4-2-3-1, there's no way we can sell our only winger who was at his breakout season at championship level. 22-year-old, contracted for another year, but we know we've got a +1 option on him. Got his first call up to Jamaica, where he switched allegiance to Jamaica recently. I think it's his grandparents. Andre Brooks, we're doing all we can to keep him. And we have to get a little bit more realistic from here. Jibril Samari, straightforward, 23. He goes back. I don't think there's many. And this won't surprise you either. Ogbeni, what a disappointing signing this has been. Look, appears to be an absolutely brilliant kid. Really nice fella. He's going back. He's not had the impact that he would have wanted, that we wanted as a fan base. It's been really disappointing overall. You okay? You going? Okay. Ukaki then. Yes, he's still a Sheffield United player. Out on loan in Greece, I believe, at the moment. I'm selling him. Shown me absolutely nothing. Part of the AI model. He wouldn't be playing in Greece at that level, or wherever he is, Cyprus, whatever it might be, if there was anything that is tangible that could be a future for us. So I think he has to go, personally, for me. Tom Davis. So many midfielders. Tom Davis. I don't think this is a surprise to anybody that we're going to release Tom Davis at the end of the season. I think at this stage, we go back to the old adage of the best ability being availability. When this lad's fit, he's a really good player. And he's definitely in the conversation for a starting midfielder. Never fit. And there's a lot of speculation that at only 27 years old, will he even carry on at the end of the season? I hope he does. I hope he finds a career somewhere and can get some regular football. He might be one that sort of drifts down the leagues a little bit and plays just because he loves the game rather than... It's just, if he wasn't on such big money, then I think he's a squad filler that you try and keep around. But particularly with us losing parachute payments, he's another one that we can't afford to just have as a luxury option. Tahith Chong, or Dave as he's known on ChatGPT, I'm going to keep him. And that's not because I think he's been a revelation. That's because I'm trying to be realistic with some of these at least. I'm selling McGuinness, I'm selling Rothwell. I don't think either happen. If I said sell Chong as well, then I just don't think it's likely. I think we should try and move him on if we can. However, because we are sticking to the 4-2-3-1, and I'm convinced he sticks with it, we have to have options out wide that we think can potentially make a bit of an impact. And I think he is a decent to okay championship player, and he's certainly not somebody who starts every week. And if you told me we were selling him, I wouldn't be upset. But I think the fact that he's on decent money again, and he's got a contract till 2029, I don't think he's going anywhere. So we're trying to fit him in as a backup / rotation option. Alex Matos, another Ruben Sayers signing, 21 years old, not seen hide nor hair of him for last 15 games. He's allegedly on £18,000 a week. How do we, if we were to sell him now, we'd lose all our money. We'd not make anything on him. I would be trying our best to loan him out. Get some value back into him. Get some confidence in him. If we have to cover half the wages, it's building our asset back up again. I think it's a smart way of doing it. Let me know what you think. What would you do with Alex Matos? Because it's easy to say sell. Who are we selling to? How much are we getting for him? Yes, you could cut your losses, but it's a lot of money to chuck away. Sidney Peck. Love Sidney Peck. And I think he goes. I think he is the one that will attract the most money. And I think we strike while the iron is hot because he has got such a ceiling. I think he's got a big ceiling, but there's no guarantee that hello, you okay? There's no guarantee that he reaches that potential. I think he's playing well overall at the minute. Discounting the last couple of games, I think his form's been on an upward turn. And I think he's becoming more and more influential in our side. I think he'll attract Premier League interest, and I think we could get a bit of a bidding war going even between some London clubs. So, yes, I think Sidney Peck will leave, and I think him and Gus will be the two players to definitely leave this summer. I may be wrong, and I won't be upset if I am, but we have to be realistic with losing some players, and those two are on my list to go, unfortunately. Jairo Riedeveld, rounding out the midfield. 29 years old. He's got a contract till 2026, but we know it's got a +1 in it. We have to keep this man. We have to keep him. I don't know why it's not been triggered already, to be honest. Get him sorted. Get him tied down and sorted out. No messing about. Jairo Riedeveld. Right. Okay. Bell says, would you guys take Walker back, Jimmy, for his final year up the Clarets? You have to wait and see, pal. You'll have to wait and see. Bald and Brilliant Lee says, midfield, Peck, sell for the right price, but love to keep. Gyro keep, Blaster keep, Rothwell sell, Samari send back, Matos sell or release, Davis release, Phillips send back. Is that the exact same as me, other than you've got a Matos sell release instead of loan? Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Blaster keep, needs a good pre-season, says James. Hamer, we will sell. He's to go. We'll get 6 to 8 million due to 1 year left. Jack says, keep Ollie. Been hung out to dry this season, which has really frustrated me. Sell Peck, keep Gyro, keep Rothwell, unfortunately. Sell Gus, keep O'Hare, need a good playmaker in there and some legs. Apparently a team abroad is coming in for Gus, but they didn't meet our valuation of 8 to 10 mil. We have a lot of leverage with just his ability. Yeah, I think so too. Love Gus, but Illy is a different gravy technically. Completely agree. Bald and Brilliant Lee says, attacking midfield. Hamer, sell. Brooks, sell for the right deal. Chong, sell, please. Don't think we can. Ogbenny, send back. I'll carry him. O'Hare, keep. Marsh, loan or sell. I ain't got Louis Marsh in here because I think he might go. Loan or sell would be about right. Not affected our first team. Will he ever? Would love him to. Yeah, me too. Luke says, we aren't getting anywhere near 10 mil for Gus. We'd be lucky to get 5 or 6, and sadly, we can't afford to turn that down. Scott says 5 to 8 million, 28 years old, 12 months on the deal, and can sign a pre-contract in January, meaning losing him on a free. See you later. Have a good time, girlies. So I'm picking him up, yeah? Okay. Have a good time, girls. See you later. Peck is the one that we can get the most for, says John. I agree with that. You look nice. See you later. Phillips back to City. Phillips is a no, says Jack. Stop signing these unfit players. Jackson News says, Jim, would you ever consider going back for Rob Holding? I think if you play in America, I'm not convinced. Certainly as an aging player, I'm not convinced that you ever come back at this level. I might be wrong. But Phillips on loan for me, says Gaz. He'd like him back. If Phillips comes back, I'll be upset. Too injury prone, doesn't outweigh his ability for me. Joe Rothwell, listen to offers. O'Hare keep with a contract extension, says James. Contract extension for sure, says Gaz. Mogger says, to keep Gus, we have to be so solid in the middle of the midfield and back four and goalkeeper. He's off, we all know that. Yeah, I think so too. Brooks keep too, says Gaz. Papa Blade says, if Phillips pays your play type deal, not going to happen. Not going to happen. It would be great. Sell Peck if the money's right. Sell both fullbacks if the same formation, as they can't defend unless two Vinny Souza types in midfield cover for them. Jack says, dig our heels in with the youngsters. They either walk away or pay big money. Brooks keep with a contract extension and Samari send him back. Tom Davis to go costs too much and make Chong available for transfer, says James. Alan says, I think next season really will be crucial, Jim, along with my team, Wolves. I wish all Blades all the best in that season. Thank you, Al. Hope you're well, my mate. No wonder our squad's so imbalanced. So many midfielders, says Jack. Good for Davo, says Gaz. Tom Davis, so much ability, but never available. Absolutely right. Keep Chong, says Jack. Pre-season under Wilder will come good. Am I kidding myself? Probably, because who buys him? Chris says, so sad about Davis. Was so injury prone because when he played, you could see the class. Yeah, you could. I agree with that, Chris. I agree with that completely. Matt says, just started the live vid, so only at the defenders, but do you think if a deal can't be done for Binden, do you try and keep Hjelde as the left-sided centre-back? We've not seen him enough there. We've not seen him there in a 2 at all. So I'm not sure we would, to be honest. And then you're looking at, are there any better options as a legit centre-half, Matt? But I've liked the look of Hjelde, so, and I wasn't overly keen on the signing to begin with, so I'm not against it. Matos to go, says James, and Peck to go. Riedewald keep. Lou says, selling City, Jim. Had to chuck my phone in the bin. I know what you're saying, though. I do think if a big offer comes in, then there's only one outcome. Yes, I do. Agree on Matos. Best course of action for him. 15 mil for Peck is a brilliant deal for us, says Mogger. We need different to Blaster and Peck in the middle next season. Keep at all cost a Gyro, Brooks, Femi, McCallum, and O'Hare. That's what I've gone for as well, Chris, to be honest. If we don't keep Gyro, I'll be swinging. I think we will. Dave Morwood says, I'm playing catch-up, Jimmy, but so far looks good. Up all the rambles, up the blades, like and subscribe. Bell says, should tell Joe to do one of these, Jimbo. Love to see what Joe thinks of who we get rid of and who actually stays. I haven't spoken to Joe for ages, you know. I hope he's doing well. Lots of players under Sayers, says James. Do you think Cleary is coming in? Can have the last laugh at Cal. I think there's a possibility he does, but I think, and it nearly came in January, very nearly came in January, but didn't happen. We spoke about that on Combo, myself and Cal, last Monday. If you want to go and have a look at that, and yeah, I think there might be a chance. But I think there's going to be a big queue. 20 mil for Peck, says Gaz. 20 mil. Okay, on to the strikers then. Tyrese Campbell. What a player he was last season. I then took some stick in the closed season saying, I'm worried about Campbell. And because I think it might have been, we might have seen the best of him. My dad agreed. Got a lot of stick for it. Why would you say that? He's a quality player. And he's been poor this season. He's been really poor. But can I just shock you? I like Campbell. Well, I know what he can do. And a lot of us do. He does come up in moments for us, and I'm certainly not suggesting that we keep him to be the lead striker or whatever it might be. But playing with a 1, I think he can suit that system, and I think he is good enough when his mindset is right. I think we need to keep him because I don't think we can overhaul the squad to the degree that we would all ideally like to. So it's a bit of a mishmash, this, I'll be honest, in terms of some things I'm going with because I really want to, and other things I'm sort of settling for. And Campbell's one of those. Tom Cannon, that brings him into the fold, doesn't it? That brings him into the spotlight, if you will. Contracted till June 2029, which is different to Campbell, who was contracted till 2027. Same deal as Gus, I believe, Campbell, in terms of length on contract. So it's his last year. I don't think we'll be able to get a lot of money for him, for Tyrese Campbell. But again, we signed him for no, didn't we? So we have to be realistic. Tom Cannon, we invested in. Gave him a long contract. He's 23 years old, just turned 23. You cannot forget that. And because of that, I'm loaning him out. I'm not keeping him as a bit part player. I want him to go out to a Stoke or a Preston where he's been before, or a new club, maybe a newly promoted club, or somebody like a Portsmouth or somebody like that needs a striker that he's going to play 35, 40 games in a season at championship level and get his confidence back. And even if it's not to come back into our side, because we seem to be a bit of a graveyard for strikers sometimes, get some value back in his name. Because if we were to sell him now, we'd be taking £2 million for him. And he's not going to directly impact our first team. I think we have to look at alternative options to impact our first team. So Tom Cannon, loan him out for me. Danny Ings. Somebody that my dad has been banging on about for 18 months. A bit like he did with Bamford. He was right with Bamford. I think you were wrong with Ings. Look, he's not wrong on the player that Ings was, because Danny Ings 18 months ago would have been incredible in this side. For whatever reason, he's not been able to make it happen. His contract expires in 2026, and that's when we shake hands, I think, and move on. I think the obvious one is Patrick Bamford, who we've managed to tie down to an 18-month deal. We definitely keep him. Best striker at the club by a stretch, which I think is a big problem that we've got. And Ryan O'Neill. What do we do with Ryan O'Neill? A lot of people... somebody dangled the carrot not so long since. That sounds a bit bad, doesn't it? But they sort of teased Ryan O'Neill coming back and starting alongside Patrick Bamford and learning from Patrick Bamford. And I do love that in theory. However, this lad needs to work on a fair bit. I think he's got all the tools, and we've only seen him very briefly. But from people like Scott that report back on what he's getting on at Lincoln and stuff like that, and other people that sort of watch him closely, his stamina is still a huge, huge issue. Maybe we can work on that at Sheffield United. Maybe we can. But I would like to see him go out a little bit like Cannon, maybe at League One level for Ryan O'Neill. But I'd like to see him go out and get some proper minutes under his belt. That's the way I am doing it with the Sheffield United squad currently. We will tot it all up in a minute, but I'm going to jump in and see what you guys are saying on the strikers. Love 20 million, but we won't get that. That's for City, I think they're talking about. He's starting for England 21, says Gaz. Lots of players under Sayers have been given long contracts, and that will cost us. No way you get 20 million for Peck, says Rob. So we keep him, in my opinion, then, says Gaz. Campbell, keep, but available for transfer. Love Ty so much, but it might be time to let him go, says Cozard. Baldwin brilliantly says attackers Bamford keep. Always liked him. No, you haven't. Campbell sell. He's got it, but where is it? Who's buying? That's the thing for me. Cannon sell, unfortunately, but not done it. One keep, but sell for an Asula type deal. Okay, I think we cash in on Ryan O'Neill, says Zonny. I think we would if we got an Asula type deal, and I would as well. Cannon keep, but available for transfer. Lee says it's time for revolution, not evolution. Interesting. We'll destroy any striker that comes into the club, says Jack. We tend to keep Bamford, but need another player who can do the same job. Keep either Cannon and Campbell at this point. I don't really care. Ings go. Ryan O'Neill's not ready. Been watching him, and he's far from it. Loan him out. Ings to go, says James. Bamford keep. Lee says I forgot about Ings. Release and good luck. Mogga says I'd go get Didsy back, who can impact the last 20 minutes or the first 60 still at this level. Looks in epic shape. Didsy is in incredible shape. I wouldn't be going to get him, unfortunately, but he does look unbelievable in terms of his shape that he's in. Can we work on the stamina of all the squad, please? Well said, Chris. That's got to be a focus. Got to be a focus. Hello, up the Blade, says Blades fan. Hello, my mate. Thank you for joining us. Only needs a good pre-season, if not a loan, for a full season. And Scott says, yes, I've watched Ryan a lot this season at Lincoln. He's mainly a bench player that comes on for 15 to 20 minutes to try and make an impact. He started a few games, but looked lost and blowing after 30 to 40 minutes. Ings really needs to go, says Blades fan. And Ryan's still young. I'd definitely loan him out, says Jack. Right, so what does that leave us with then? Loaned out. I can't even see it myself. It's that small. One, Cannon, Faxon, Matos, Zatterstrom, Curtis, and Polendikov. And to our estimates, that saves us about 70 grand a week if all wages are covered. Now, Matos and Cannon, we might have to pay a little bit, so it might be closer to 50. But estimated savings of 70 grand a week if we go with our plan here. Leaving the club. That's 7 players out on loan. Leaving the club. 15 players. 15 players saving us an estimated, and this is an estimate, £310,000 a week. Incredible. Sidney Peck, Gus Hamer, both leave with a heavy heart. Calvin Phillips, Tom Davis, Ben Mee, Danny Ings, Mark McGuinness, Joe Rothwell, Leo Hjelde, Kiana Hoover, Adam Davis, Jamie Shackleton, Ogbeni, Samari, and Okaki. £310,000 worth of savings. So nearly 400 grand, at least 350 grand worth of savings with the players that are leaving. That's not including any transfer fees that have come in. What does that leave us with? So it's all right getting rid of them all and getting all this money in. What's the squad going to look like without all these players? This is what it looks like. Michael Cooper in goal. We've got a right back, Femi Sariki. So we've got one. 2 centre backs in Bindon back on loan and Tanganga. 2 left backs to compete for the same spot in Harrison Burrows and Sam McCallum. 2 centre midfielders in Gyro and Ollie Arblaster. 2 right wingers, loosely, with Andre Brooks and Chong, who can play across the front. 1 centre attacking midfielder that can play in the 10, and that's Callum O'Hare. No left wingers in this squad. And 2 strikers. We've got Patrick Bamford and Tyrese Campbell. So, a bit like what Lee was saying, it's revolution, not evolution, because I'm saying we need a goalkeeper, we need a right back, we need 2 centre backs, we need 2 centre midfielders, we need 1 right winger, we need another central attacking midfielder. We need 2 left wingers and we need 2 strikers. I've gone with 1 right winger because Chong can be the extra in the right wing, the centre attacking midfielder and the left wing, and then it's 2 for every position then. That's what it is. So squad needs, and that is how I sort of surmise how we need those players. So we need a backup goalkeeper. We need a backup right back or competition for Sariki, which might lead you into where I'm going with that. I think we need a starting centre-back that would push Tanganga and Bindon to be the second. And then we need a backup centre-back as well. Left-backs were good. I think we need somebody to partner Gyro and not just expect that Ollie Arblaster walks into this side. So I think it's Gyro plus 1 starting centre midfielder. On the right wing, we need somebody that can really press Andre Brooks. We need somebody in central attacking midfield that can press Callum O'Hare for his position as well. We need 2 left wingers. And we need somebody. I've got Ty Campbell staying, but I've got him staying as 4th choice in 4 strikers. So we need some more options there as well. So that's where we are. State of play as it stands. Who can we get? Who can we now look at in the free market with all those positions to fill? That's why some might keep Adam Davis, because it's 1 less spot to fill. But when you talk about things like that, then you're missing players that are available. And the first thing I'm going to do is go through some of the long list that I considered. And then we'll look at a potential 11 with those players included. And then we'll look to a more realistic outcome in terms of who I would love us to sign on frees. First free transfer to come in and compete with Michael Cooper for the number 1 spot, Angus Gunn at Forest. 30 years old. These are all out of contract in June. He's played 1 game, I think, for Forest. It was Norwich's number 1 prior to that. There's some that would say he won't come to be a number 2 in the Championship. Well, that's not what we're selling him. We're selling him. Michael Cooper had a bad season this year, and you have every chance of becoming our number 1 goalkeeper. We've got precedent for this. Harrison Burrows came in for big money. Sam McCallum came in on a free. When Harrison Burrows wasn't performing, Sam McCallum took his spot. We need closer competition in the goalkeeping department, and Angus Gunn is right up there in terms of a credible number 2 / number 1 competition. More of a number 2, Freddie Woodman, currently at Liverpool. 29 years old, was Preston's number one. Played 127 games, I think, for Preston. Newcastle before that. I think he came through at Newcastle. Always been known to be a decent Championship goalkeeper. He's number 3 at Liverpool, I believe, for the quarter. And let's be right, may well stay there. Could be the new Scott Carson. Scott Carson's been that for Man City for years, a quarter goalkeeper, and Freddie Woodman might stay there. But he's another option for us, as somebody we could go for as competition for Cooper. I'd be more comfortable with Woodman coming in when Cooper's not available, but he's more of a legit number 2 than he is competition, I would say. Big one, Kyle Walker at Burnley. We know all about him. 34, it says there. I think he's actually 35. Just going to double check that, actually. Yeah, he's 35. Soon be 36. And that plays a big part. I've got him here listed as a free because there's a lot of speculation that he's got a break clause in his Burnley contracts. This may not be true, but from what I understand, there may be a break clause in his Burnley contract if they're relegated. It were a 2-year deal, dependent on their survival. So if Kyle Walker's available, we've got to consider him. We've got to consider him. Obviously, his career is on a downward turn. Huge blade. And that doesn't count for anything, but he also massively improves us, doesn't he? He massively improves us. James Bree is another option at right back. Now, he's come back. He had a loan spell at Charlton, played really well against us for Charlton. And I think he then went on and played. Did he play the following game against us for Southampton? He may have done. Really good player at the level. Really like him. 28 years old now. Out of contract at the end of the season. I think he's starting games or he's certainly involved in the first team. So what you'd say is, this may be dependent on Southampton's future as a club. I don't think he's a Premier League player. I'm not convinced they keep him on if they get promoted. They were happy to loan him out earlier in the season. So there's a chance we get him if Southampton get promoted, but that would be to be serious competition for Femi Siriki. Kyle Walker would be potentially a replacement for Femi Siriki. So there's loads to think about, but I'm just trying to give you a bit of a flavour of what is available out there. Dale Fry, one of my favourites on this list. Centre half, no nonsense centre half. 28 years old, has worn the armband previously for Middlesbrough. They're having a really good season. I think they drop out, if I'm honest, and he becomes available. I think he's a Borough boy. Yeah, he is. He has had a loan spell at Rotherham, but he's played 245 games for Middlesbrough. Not likely, maybe. Maybe a case of they'll want him to stay. Do they see him as a first teamer? How many games has he played this season? I'm not sure. I'd have to have a look. 17 games this season. So not a regular. Would love to sign Dale Fry. We have got a lot of these players are older, and you'll notice that because the squad that we're left with is very young. Let's go back and have a look at who I've got as remaining in our squad. Where's the one squad left? There we go. So Cooper, Siriki young, Bindon young, Burrows not old at all, McCallum not old, Arblaster young, Brooks young. So yeah, I think we know that we've been needing some experience in and around the squad, some leaders, and I think Dale Fry fits that bill perfectly. Another one who does and goes under the radar a little bit is Ben Wilmot at Stoke. Couldn't believe he's only 26 years old because he seems to have been around ages. Signed for Watford in the Premier League on a 5-year deal early on in his career. Was said to be touted as a really good prospect, but he's a captain-like figure at Stoke. I think he'd be a really smart signing for us at this level. Yes, he's not the oldest. He's like an old head on younger shoulders for me. I think he's more of a captain figure than anything we've got in the back line. And on a free, I don't think you can turn your nose up at it. I've got a couple coming up that are maybe shots in the dark, but players to consider. One that always seems to come around for Sheffield United is Michael Keane. You either like Keane or you don't. 33 years old now. I think he would bring much needed, pretty much a similar role to Ben Mee. Would he cost too much money? Would his wages be too high? but has gone for big money in the past, played a lot of his career, or most of his career in the Premier League. He's one to consider for me. One that I really like, is Josh Laurent at Burnley. That's 2 Burnley players on this list already. Centre midfielder, 30 years old, powerhouse in the middle. Something we have been badly missing. Him alongside Jairo Riedeveld. Let's have a bit of that. Let's have a bit of that. Really like him as a player. Not getting in regular for Burnley from what I understand. Let's just have a little look again at what... Played 70 games for Burnley over his career, which I think it surprises me, actually. He's playing a lot in the Prem. He's playing a lot. That'd have to be an optimistic one, wouldn't it? Billy Mitchell. Some of you may remember him from EastEnders. It's a bit of a wild shout, this one, but he's a younger player playing in a very successful Millwall squad. Defensive type midfielder, very busy. And he's a good championship player. So I'm not convinced he walks in front of Ollie Arblaster. And I've also gone for his teammate, Casper De Nora. I think he's also a good player at 29 years old, but another sort of defensively minded midfielder. They play together in the Millwall midfield. Had a brilliant season, Millwall. And they're both coming up for being available. I think it'd be quite snobby to discard them as a potential option as we, again, reminder, run out of parachute payments. Solly March. One that Man Mountain mentioned for a January pickup coming up 3-4 months ago. And he's stuck in my mind because it's a great shout for me. Yes, he's not played regular football. He had a bad injury about 3 or 4 years ago, and we've not really seen the same from him. But can play all across the front line. We're a really good player coming through the leagues for Brighton. And 31 now, it's not old. It's not old, but a really strong player. And I would love to see him come into our squad. And I think he makes a difference for us. I think he's a difference maker. Another one, a bit of a rogue shout, this one as well, and it's more of a personal favourite. Not favourite, but a personal preference. Paul Smith at QPR. Not even a regular at QPR, to be honest. I've always liked the look of him. I think he plays well against us, and I do believe in stuff like that. Always looks good when we play him. And I just think he's busy. I think as a squad option and a backup to the first team, I think he'd be a really decent signing. I don't mind it at all. I think he always looks a bit of a threat coming off their bench. Why can't he do the same for us? Another one who I've been a long-term admirer of, never really reached the heights, Lewis Baker at Stoke. I watched this kid when I was scouting, when he was 17 and he were in Chelsea's academy. Can't remember where he were on loan. He were on loan somewhere. Might have been in League One. But I saw him take corners from both sides. He took all the set pieces, and he's a great set piece man, which is really, really like a strong attribute of his. Free kicks and corners, he can put ball on a pin. But he took corners from both sides, and on the right hand side he took it with his right foot for an in-swinger. And on the left hand side he took it with his left foot for an in-swinger, and both were as good as each other. I couldn't tell initially which foot was his dominant foot. And I think with players that are that gifted, I think he teeters into the, and I'm not saying he's as good a player because I don't think he is, but he teeters into the Ravel Morrison sort of wasted talent conversation in terms of where he could have been as a player, because I genuinely think he's that good, but he's never quite reached the levels. I'm a big fan of Lewis Baker. One that I think we should definitely be having a look at. I think it's a bit of a no-brainer for me, this one. It's already been mentioned in the comments. Karlan Grant at West Brom. Not the most consistent player, but has gone, I think, did he go for 15 million quid? To West Brom, which means nothing because we've obviously signed players for big money in the past and they've not done anything. But I do think he looks a threat at the level, and I think he fits into what we're trying to do. I think he would be an alternative for Gus Hamer on the left hand side. He's not the same player, he's not the same level of player, but he gives us a different option. And I think he's a decent signing to consider. Karlan Grant, the fact that he's going free, there'll be a lot of offers, there'll be a lot of interest in him. We'll see if we can be in that mix. 28 years old. He'll want decent money. I think we'll still pay okay money. But I think with a smaller squad, I think he's someone we should be considering. Now, a couple that, certainly one that is another rogue shout, really. Sam Bell at Bristol City. I do like him as a player. He's been on loan at Wycombe recently and done really well because he's not been forcing his way into the Bristol City side. It's more of we've got nothing on the left, remember, and he's 23. He's 23. I think it's a punt more than anything else, but I think if he's going for free, I don't think it's a terrible option to have a little look and see what he could offer us. So I'm just putting him in there as a potential option because he's a young lad and he's scored goals at championship level before. Strikers, 2 options here. Josh Maja. Whoa, Josh Maja. You know. Streaky, is old Josh. Not similar players, but similar frustrations to Tyrese Campbell. Purple patch player, I would say. Purple patch player. Always the ability to be a threat at this level. Play for Bordeaux, and you know he's done okay in his career. He's been about a little bit. I think he can be a threat at the level, and I think as a rotation option, he would be decent. I also think, and I'm not a huge fan, but I have listened to what people are saying, and I understand calls for this. Remember, these are just us looking at free options. There are other options out there that will be better for Sheffield United. We've also got 5 loans that can come into this squad, but I'm considering this one as a Patrick Bamford backup / poo house. Lyndon Dykes. He's gone to Charlton now, but his contract is up at the end of the season. I always thought he was Scottish. Obviously, he plays for Scotland, but he's Australian. He was born in Australia. I think he's got Scottish parents or grandparents. He's not a goal scorer, which obviously for strikers is the key thing you're looking for. But for one up front, he's a real. Oh, look at him! Just look at him. He's a nasty piece of work. And I don't mean that as a person. I'm sure he's a lovely fella. But on the field, he's a nasty piece of work and a nightmare for defences. He holds the ball up well. He's decent in the air. So I think he's something to consider. And with those players, we have a potential first team of Michael Cooper in goal, Kyle Walker on the right, Tanganga and Dale Fry as a defensive pairing, and Burrows as left back. Josh Laurent and Jairo Riedeveld as a midfield pair. Brooks on the right, Carlin Grant on the left, Callum O'Hare behind Patrick Bamford, and I don't think we lose much, and they're free transfers, by the way. The bench, well, you can't see them all there, and I'll struggle to, but it's full of talent. Angus Gunn, we've got Sariki, Binden, McCallum, Blaster, Lewis Baker, can't see who that is. Oh, it's Solly March, Sam Bell, Lyndon Dykes and Josh Maja all on the bench. A potential second 11 from the squad that we have just picked. Angus Gunn in goal. Sariki, Binden, Wilmot and McCallum as your defensive 4. Arblaster and Denora as your midfield 2. Lewis Baker in the 10. Solly March on the right. Sam Bell on the left. And Josh Maja up front. And you've still got... You've got Freddie Woodman on the bench as your backup goalkeeper. You've got James Bree. You've got Michael Keane. You've got Billy Mitchell. White dot. You've got Paul Smith or Smythe, whatever you want to call him. Chongi. You've got Lyndon Dykes and Tyrese Campbell. So I'm going to give you 5 now that I'm going to sign. But before I do, I'm going to jump into some comments and try to see what your guys are thinking about it. Lou says, can I just shock you? I like Campbell as well. I was one that thought you'd wrote him off prematurely or written him off prematurely. Come on, Lou. Come on, you're better than that. But he's had the season you predicted. I don't think we get any serious takers in the summer. Neither do I. Time to move Marsh on, says James. Mogger says, I think Ty could fire back with a wilder pre-season, fighting for a new contract. Total rebuild that, Jimmy. It would need 10 players plus, says Gaz. Well, I've just shown you there, though, Gaz. If we brought them all in, which I don't anticipate we will, then there's a lot there, isn't there? We'll come to my final pick in a minute. It's a big summer ahead, and it won't be fixed in one season, but a lot of work can be done. Wilder will steer us in the right direction again. I bet he's sick of doing it, says Jack. Them savings should be able to do all the transfer dealings Do we really need 4 strikers if the plan is to go with one up front? Possibly not, Luke. Possibly not. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. We need a starting centre-back. We need legs and a playmaker in the middle, a striker, a right winger, and 2 left wingers, potentially 2 right backs as well. Action Location says, problem, Jimmy, is we sell all these players, then the fax machine breaks down. Up the blades, up the ramble, like and subscribe. Lou says, I like Angus Gunn, and I do think he pushes Coops. Seen some very good performances against us and other clubs. He's a good all-round keeper. I agree. If Wilder gets this summer right, it'll put us squad-wise in the right direction, says Jack. Chris says, can you name me a good player we've had from Liverpool? I'm going to say Ian Rush. That came to mind then, but obviously didn't come direct from Liverpool. Good player from Liverpool. No. Tom says, Melier going to be available on a free at the end of the season. No, thank you. Bring back Walker, says All Therapy. Loving the show, Jim, says Blade Sean. Charlie and me listening on the way back from London. Up the Blades, up the Ramble. Nice one. Thank you, Sean and Charlie. Lou says, Dale Fryer is exactly what we need at centre-half. I think if Borough go up, we have a chance of pulling him. It depends on that for me. Possibly. Fryer's from Stockton, but yes, he's a Borough boy. Keane playing well for Everton, says John. I don't think they'll keep him, if I'm honest. I don't think they'll keep him. Is Tommy Doyle contract up at the end of the season? No, his deal with Birmingham is up. And they had the option to buy him, I think, and it's not looking likely that they'll do that. He'll go back to Wolves, I think, and possibly plays for them in the Championship, David. Hi, Jimmy. I think Gus Hamer will go, says Rich. I agree. Bell says, honestly, I'd drop Walker off myself, Jimbo. He's been awful this season. Plays the blame game. I know he's dropped off in terms of form, but there's a huge gap. As you know, as a Burnley fan, there's a huge gap between Championship and Premier League, and I still think he's got a big part to play at this level. MK Don's in for Lewis Baker, says Rob. Possibly. Darlow out of contract at the end of the season from us, says Leeds United Calypso. Yeah, but he's been playing, hasn't he? I think you'll give him a new deal, to be honest. You can have Melier and we'll pay you to take him. All Therapy says, if we're talking about midfielders, then bring back Ollie Norwood. Dave Oxley says, Ben Davies at Tottenham is out of contract at the end of the season. I also think Daka from Leicester is on a free as well. Daka is one of the worst players I've ever seen at this level. He's been terrible, hasn't he? He's been so bad this season. Is it Daka that I'm thinking of? I hope so. Otherwise I'll make myself look foolish. Carlin Grant is a funny one, says Lou. Doesn't score enough and kind of dropped to the left over time because of it. But he does always look lively. I wouldn't say no necessarily. Tom says, great show tonight, Jimmy. Just shows how difficult it'll be for Wilder next season. As the Ramblers can't agree. I think we're the best without parachute payments. Get our sleeves properly rolled up. Sam Bell's an interesting one, Jim, says Lou. A very Bristol City type of player. Really hot and cold. But he has these brilliant one-off games in him. Can play across the front three. And you'd know a bit about him, Lou. Madja for us was a brilliant finisher, says Rob, Sunderland fan. A pure portrait in League One. Scored a lot of one-touch goals, so he's dependent on decent service. He gets into good positions as well, doesn't he, Rob? Which obviously is how you end up with one-touch finishes. But can we buy a couple of referees next season? As it appears the opposition team seem to have bought a few before they come to the lane. Walker will not replace Femi, says Chris. Reyes Cleary says Rush Ashton. Yeah, we might do that if we're doing a buying players in. Calypso says you should be going for Joe Gelder on loan from us. This is a free transfers edition. Dennis Serkin looks to be out of contract in the summer, says Rob. Oh, I love Dennis Serkin. He goes straight into our lineup for me. Mikey says, as a Blade that's lived in Preston for 10 years and ended up following them out of being local, my missus supporting him, Woodman is awful and no Preston fan would want him back. Not even as a number 2, Mikey. That's interesting. What's happening to Zatterstrom? I think he'll end up back at United, to be honest. Don't mind your squad, Jim, apart from Mitchell, Keane, Smith and Dykes. Not a massive fan of Grant either, but I do see his positives. Not done yet, Lee. We're not done yet, pal. These were just options. Dan Neil from Sunderland. Bringing Ollie McBurney back would make sense. We won't be able to do it. Connor Cody was the last decent player we've had from Liverpool. Yes, he was. Dan Neil would be a very good pickup. Not sure where he ends up, to be honest. I think he goes to Ipswich. I've got him nailed in my head as going to Ipswich. I'll be very surprised if he doesn't. There's 4 loans to add to this. 5, Nate. 5 loans that we can add to this. Connor Cody was a pretty decent from Liverpool, says Dave the Nose. Touche BBL. Great show, Jim. Please like and subscribe. It's free. Up all the rambles. Up the blades. Thank you, Chris, my mate. Rob says, I was saying Lewis Baker was at MK Dons during your scouting chat. Oh, right. Thank you. Yes. It might have been. He had a couple of loans. I've got a feeling. I don't know. It could have been anywhere, to be honest. I love the video, Jimbo, says Bell. Appreciate your efforts and the videos. Jimbob's top bloke. Thanks, buddy. Up the Ramble. Thank you, mate. And Kev says, Wildsmith for a backup keeper. No, thank you. I'm going to sign 5 that I've suggested. I'm going to tell you which 5 right now. Angus Gunn. Angus Gunn is a backup to Mike Cooper. He is the reason I am releasing Adam Davis. I think he's much more accomplished at the level and is a real threat to Cooper's number 1 position. And if we ever have excuse me, if we ever have an instance like we've had where he's been injured, but also if he drops in form, then you have a quality keeper to come in as a replacement. Kyle Walker. I think we need somebody like Kyle Walker back in our squad. It's a Billy Sharp type of character who knows where he's been there, done it. So he's been at the top of the game. That's something that Billy didn't bring himself. But a born blade knows what it means to play for the club. I think that counts for an awful lot. And we haven't really got anybody like that. Other than Blaster, who it's a huge expectation for him to sort of bleed that through the squad. I think we need a leader. And I think Walker is ideal for that. I'm not saying he starts every game. Certainly Sariki stays. But who better to learn off for Femi Sariki than Kyle Walker? Dale Fry, I completely agree with Lou. He's my 3rd of the 5 that I'm signing. He is everything we need at the back, really. Certainly for those that are available on a free transfer, I would love to sign Dale Fry. And I put him straight into our lineup, whether that's alongside Bindon or Tanganga. Probably Tanganga if we're right. Dale Fry gets into my lineup. Josh Laurent, partners. Gyro Riedeveld. It might be a little bit hit and hope with this one, but I've always liked him. Really strong, powerhouse in the middle, dominant centre midfielder, gets up and down the field really well. He's an athlete. So if Burnley can't agree a deal with him, because they're obviously coming down as well, I would love us to push the boat out and get a deal done for Josh Laurent. And my final signing is Carlin Grant. We need a left-sided player to come in. I know that when we're talking about real replacements in terms of putting some money down, a lot of people would like Mikey Johnston. A lot of people would like Reyes Cleary from Barnsley. But we're talking about free transfers that are available that Sheffield United could be in the mix for with no parachute payments. And Carlin Grant at this level is proven. He's a problem for teams at this level. He scores goals at this level, not as consistently as was once expected of him, but I think he's a real player. And Carlin Grant makes my final 5, which leaves us with a proposed squad of Michael Cooper in goal, a back 4 of Kyle Walker, harsh on Femi Sariki, but Kyle Walker, hear me out. Kyle Walker, Japhet Tanganga, Dale Fry, and Harrison Burrows. Straight away, I'm not as concerned about that back 4 as I am with our record currently. Josh Laurent and Gyro in the middle. Get through them if you can. Callum O'Hare in the middle. Andre Brooks on the right-hand side. Carlin Grant on the left. And Patrick Bamford up top. We have sold Gus Hamer. We have sold Sidney Peck. We've got 20 million quid in the coffers for those 2 deals. We've also got Angus Gunn ready to push Michael Cooper from the bench. We've got Femi Sariki on the bench, Tyler Bindon, Sam McCallum, Ollie Arblaster, Tahith Chong and Tyrese Campbell. That's before any loan players come in. And that is the end of 100 different pictures I've put together on the screen. So if you can't give us a like and a subscribe for that, then I don't know what you can. You don't have to agree with me, but it took me ages to put together. And look, it's a labour of love. I do this channel because I absolutely love talking about Sheffield United. And like David the Nose was saying earlier, they're my favourite type of videos to do as well. So, yes, that's where we are. Let's get some final comments in before we wrap up. But thank you to everybody for joining us on this bumper ramble. As we sort of half look forward to it. I know it's season ain't over, but we're half looking forward to next year already. Isn't Bindon one though? Says Nath. Oh, apologies. Yes, you're right. 4 loans to come in if Bindon's a loan. You're right. Absolutely right, Nath. Dave Vinter says, no to Kyle Walker. He's gone downhill this season and will only go downhill, as well as stunting Femi. Not stunting feminine, but yeah, stunting Femi Sariki. Looking forward to next season. Up the Blades, up all the Rambles. Top man Dave, hope you well, pal. Gaz says 100% Kyle Walker can still perform at championship level, and that is the difference of opinion, isn't it? Two completely contrasting opinions. I tend to agree. I'm certainly not saying no to Kyle Walker at championship level. Not a chance. Not a chance. Any COV players available on a free, says Leeds United Calypso. I don't believe so. I'd have to have a proper look. I did this like 3 or 4 days ago, to be honest, and I wanted to make sure I got it all done before I advertised it, because if I'd have waited and tried to backlog it. But no, not from memory. Lou says, if we end up with Coops and Gunn, I'll be Alan Partridge. Cashback happy. Yeah, me too. Walker back and give him the armband, says Dave. I could happily give Walker the armband, Gyro the armband. Yeah. I think you're right, Dave. I think you're right, mate. Kyle Walker, Gaz, no chance. Backward step, says Dave Vinter. It would only last 1 season, so what's the point? Josh Laurent as Vinny Souza replacement, like that. Yep, no Salah, Jimmy. No, not this time. Lee says, Gunn, yes. Walker, yes. Dale Fry, yes. Solid and doesn't mess. Possible captain, yeah, agree with that. Laurent is very good and a strong athlete, as you said. Grant, not 100% on this, but could get on board a bit like Bamford. I like this team. If only it was this easy, says Jack. All Therapy says, like the final squad. Let's hope we can pull some gems off. Yeah, me too. Thank you again to everyone for joining us. Let me know what you think of the team and get your teams in as well. Who you would remember? It's a free transfer one. This we're not talking about players we can get in on loan. That'll become more obvious as we go through the season. Come towards the end of the season, who's going to be available in the summer? We'll know what sort of players are going to be available for transfer and things like that. Who we might be interested in, whether that's West Brom get relegated and Mikey Johnson comes available, that sort of thing. So. For now, we're looking at free transfers, but we'll be doing transfer content all across the summer. We'll be back tomorrow night with 3 Mardy Blades. So we'll join you again here live. Dave the Nose, the Man Mountain, and myself. But for now, come on, you red and white wizards. Up the Blades!